Welcome to the Hear You Out podcast, where every opinion is heard and never judged. Topics that most dance around, lie about, or just flat out avoid are discussed right here. Your host, Jesus, gives all viewpoints, no filter, just old school talk that most only have behind closed doors. If you want to listen but not be told what to believe or how to feel, have a seat. Get comfortable and welcome home. Get ready for the roller coaster and get your popcorn ready. 'Cause this will get heated.
All right, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Hear You Out podcast. It's Jesus. I'm here as always. I also have June here to the right of me. And then to the left of me, the man that likes to stay quiet during the show, but we're not going to let him. We're going to make him talk. We're going to make him scream. We're going to get him uncomfortable because that's what the show's about. We talk about uncomfortable conversations. What's up, Gabe? Welcome.
Yeah, man.
All right. So we had a plan coming into this episode. We were going to talk about something that made people uncomfortable, right? Prayer in school, religion in school. But then an article came out. June sends me an article, I want to say about Monday or Tuesday. It was leaked out that a school, an elementary school, went and took kids on a field trip. They took them on a field trip. This is in Broward County, Florida. Took them on a field trip to, quote unquote, this is, again, I'm going to use what they're saying. I want to be very clear. I'm not making these words up. This is what they said. A gay bar. In elementary school, they took them on a school trip to a gay bar. And I put that out there on social. And boy, oh boy, did this blow up. We have never gotten so much heat, both ways, by the way, which is great. And it's clear that that's the topic we need to talk about. That's the conversation that needs to be had. Again, Hear You Out podcast. All opinions are heard. I never judge anybody, whether you agree, whether you disagree with me. I don't care. I want to hear all angles of it. I want to hear all views. Nobody gets judged here. Nobody gets canceled out, period, ever. Last episode, we talked about the vaccine, and there were some strong feelings. Junior was put on the hot seat. Gabe seemed uncomfortable, but he talked a little bit too. But this one, I think, is going to take it to a whole nother level. This is going to take it to a level where we're probably going to be hated. We're going to be loved by some, hated by some. But at the end of the day, this is a conversation that has to be had. We have to come out here and approach this head on. Don't hide. Don't run from it. But let's just go ahead and attack it. So there's this article. And it's on Fox News. I want to go ahead and a Florida school board member, they chaperoned a group of elementary school children on a field trip to a gay bar. Now, this is a quote specifically from the school board. I'm going to read it word for word. I was so honored to be invited to chaperone Wilton Manors Elementary's field trip to the incredible Rosie's. The students and I had a fun walk over and learned a lot about community. A huge thank you to Rosie's Bar and Grill for hosting this special field trip every year. Broward County School Board member Sarah Leonardi posted this on the official school board Facebook page on Wednesday. The post, which was examined by Fox News, because this article comes straight from Fox News, this on Thursday morning, shows the photos of children in a popular Florida gay bar. Rosie's Bar and Grill, including photos of a group posing next to the restaurant sign. School board member Sarah Leonardi accompanied Wilton Manors Elementary School on a field trip to the LGBT bar, which features menus like the Big Girl Burgers, Rhonda Cowboy, Ivana Hooker, Helena Bun, Georgia Blue, Young Ranch Hand, Willie Cheesesteak, and there's more. Now, I want to be fair, and I want to make sure this part does not get missed in the article. Those are inappropriate, right? Those are very, very inappropriate things to have on a menu for elementary school kids. But to the bar's defense, and again, I'm not going to defend the bar just yet. You'll hear my view shortly. But to the bar's defense, this was not the menu that the children were given. They made a special menu for the children. I think that's very important here because it's all sides. All opinions are heard on this show. It's not one-sided. I know kind of where the side is with that post that we made on Facebook. I hear you all. I know where you all coming from. I promise you all of you will have a voice. There's much more to this article, but before I go ahead and go further, just off of this alone, Junior, I'm going to give you the floor first. I want you to go ahead, share just a tad of what you feel. There's going to be a lot more coming, but just the opening remarks to this. Get us going.
So I honestly don't know how to feel because personally I'm not from that community. So I can't speak on that. But my kid wouldn't be going to that. I wouldn't sign off on that, you know. Like there's so many other places that you can take these kids, bro. Like, you know, these are elementary kids. You got Chuck E. Cheese. You know what I'm saying? You got, you know, I mean, this was in Broward, Florida, so I don't know what things they got out there, but I'm pretty sure they got a Chuck E. Cheese. You know, why it has to be why it have to be a bar? For take the LGBTQ thing out of it. You know, let's just say a bar. Like, why would you take? Like, what was the purpose of that? You know, so I don't know the backstory. This is just the headline. This is what we're reading, but based off that, it doesn't sound good, bro. It doesn't sound good. And me personally, my kid comes home coming with a paper basically saying that they're gonna go on a field trip to a LGBTQ bar. No, he's not going, bro. I'm calling off of work that day. Just stay home.
Okay. Interesting opening statements. Okay. Gabe, you go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are going with. No kid should go to a bar for a field trip. Elementary school. I mean, for me, elementary school, I went to Crayola Factory.
Thank you.
Like, why a bar? I guess. I mean, I packed my lunch going to field trips. Wasn't getting fed or anything like that. And then at that point, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you know, the parents, they signed off. They were okay with it. But I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. No, I won't have my kid going to any bar. You know, straight LGBT, a bar is a bar. No reason why kids should be next to people getting drunk. So
I guess that means I'm up, right?
Yeah.
I guess that means I have to kind of go ahead and kind of say where I'm at with this. You know what? I'm going to own something. And I want to thank my Facebook community. Because I got called out. Well, I didn't get called out, but they were calling people out for the way the article was written, the way it was put out there. And the article basically mentioned how the kids were brought to a gay bar. If I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and say where I need to be better as a human, is what stuck out to me there first and foremost was gay.
Right.
Bar came secondary to me,
right,
which was absolutely wrong on my part.
I agree.
I am ashamed to admit that was the first thing that stuck out to me, when the bar part is probably even worse than the gay, because at the end of the day, with the gay section, we're going to get into that conversation here shortly, but you took the kids to a bar.
And that's why I said if you take out LGBTQ, they still going to a bar, right?
It's the bar. That should be where the outrage is.
Totally agree.
But if you take a look at our post, and we have over 2,000 reach, over 700 impressions, tons and tons of comments just off of this alone. That, unfortunately, is not where the outrage is, though.
It's crazy, right?
The outrage is more about the LGBT part of it, that it was a gay bar as opposed to it just being a bar. And I will get into that part. Now, Junior, I want to go ahead and I want to touch on something here that you kind of mentioned, where we said, you know, why not Chuck E. Cheese or why not anywhere else? From the school specifically, it says how we organize ourselves in the unit. Students learn about neighborhood, safety, community, helpers, and the importance of being a community member. What it takes to make a community successful, different jobs in a community, and social skills when interacting with others. This was a local restaurant. Apparently, it was walking distance from the school. So if Chuck E. Cheese isn't walking distance, maybe that wasn't an option for them. Does that give them a free pass to take them to a bar? I know based on what you're telling me, you're probably going to say, no, it's not.
They have options, bro. they got school buses where they can actually, the yellow bus, where they can actually go on field trips. So they can go to Chuck E. Cheese.
But
You know
what
I'm
about
saying?
if
They
their
can go-
focus was just community, the specific community?
They can go to a park. They can go to a park. You know what I'm saying? A community park. They can, where there's swings, there's slides, there's what's that called? The wet pads, the water pads thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's other options. You're gonna take a child. Essentially, this is what they are. They're a child. They're toddlers. Well, they're kids. You're taking them to a bar, bro. Take out the LGBTQ. Forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that they go into a bar. And then it says, if I'm not mistaken, they said they closed down the bar and they made it quote unquote kid friendly.
Just to keep going off of this again, it's Fox. It's from Fox, www.foxnews.com. I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due for that one. The bar was not open to the general public while students were present inside. When the business opened, students transitioned to a separate outside location to order and eat their meals. The students ordered their meals from a student-friendly paper menu that has 3 child-friendly choices. They learned about the types of jobs involved in operating a restaurant, how to pay for their meals, and how to leave a tip for the service they receive. So that's why a park apparently wasn't an option here.
So let me ask you. You said that they closed, they opened it back up and the kids were where?
Yeah. Okay. I can't run from it, right? When the business opened, the students transitioned to a separate outside location to order and eat their meals. So go ahead. Hey, listen, the floor is yours. This is it. Go ahead.
This is what I'm saying. So, going off of what you're reading, so now the bar is open. Now it's a club and the kids are there. I mean, going off of that. You know what I'm saying? So now they're essentially in a full out blown bar at what time? I don't know. I'm assuming it's early afternoon. You know what I'm saying? And then it's LGBTQ. So now it's a full out blown bar. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead, jump in.
I want to say something there. You keep throwing an LGBT in there.
Mhm.
It's a straight bar. They're still gonna see things they shouldn't see if
Agreed.
they went to a straight bar.
Totally agreed.
Again, it's not the bar. It's not the bar's fault. It's the fact that definitely the teachers or whoever it was knew it was opening and they decided to stay. They decided to stay, move the kids to a different place to eat. Something they shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
And then what else? I mean, like what you were saying, they could have gone to a park.
Right.
What they learned with tipping waitresses and stuff, if they had a bar nearby, they had a restaurant nearby. They could have gone to like maybe a Denny's or something if they wanted to feed the kids.
Agreed.
Denny's, I mean,
Totally agree.
especially if the school, I mean, some schools don't have the money for it. Denny's, I'm pretty sure Denny's is cheaper than a bar. So
Right.
But, okay. And I agree with that, right? They could have done that. But if the focus for this trip, and again, I'm not defending this. I'm going to get to really in depth how I feel, but I think this is important to lay the facts out first and also play devil's advocate here. If we're talking about community, Denny's is more of a franchise type, bigger restaurant. A Rosie's, you kind of think of community, probably locally owned potentially.
It is.
So that's kind of this was the point of this trip. So you all keep mentioning bigger chain places. That's where I have to kind of correct you all and say that wasn't according to the school. According to the school, that wasn't the point of this trip.
We don't know that though, bro.
That's what but that we can only go based on what we have.
The article. Yeah.
That's all we can go based on.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
It's tough, bro.
I just feel like there has to be something else in that area. Yeah, it's it's local, and what is a community? But a lot of communities have their own diners. A lot of communities. I mean, look at Uber Eats and everything. They have companies, they have restaurants opening up to people wanting to be their own boss. There has to be something nearby next to them that they could have done that without doing what they did.
I agree.
Okay. Now we're gonna get into the part that really has drawn some heat. Okay. Before I do, I want to go ahead. I want to first get into we had someone who wanted to call in and really give us some feedback on things. Unfortunately, the timing didn't align up. But what she was so kind of to do was she was able to kind of leave us a message. We gave her like 3 specific questions, right? Her name is Alexis. We gave her 3 specific questions, and we really wanted her to kind of talk to us about how she feels. The 3 questions I asked was, how do you feel about just the article in general? The second one was, do you agree with them taking the children there? And then the last one is, does something like this hurt or help the LGBTQ community? That to me is, I really want to have that understanding of it. So bear with me all. This is about like 2 minutes long. I'm going to go ahead and allow this to kind of let you all to hear her side of it. And then that's when we can really get into the nitty gritty, the things that really, didn't shock me actually, but really took off with this episode and why we decided to really shift the focus there.
After reading the article, I was quite impressed by the notion of someone wanting to educate the younger generations of the LGBTQ plus community. You know, our generation, 35 and up, even 21 and up, didn't have it as easy as far as their coming out story. Especially the older generations. I mean, my mom's age group, 55, almost 60 and up, most of them hid most of their lives as far as being who they were, or are. And nowadays, you're seeing the younger generations coming out a lot earlier. And it's because of how the community is becoming more accepted. I think it does help the community just because we're trying to bring a positive note. We don't want negativity associated with us. And letting younger generations know that it's okay to be different, it's okay to love who you love, so that it's easier for them to grow up. That's the main purpose, and I think that by doing this, it's gonna prevent a lot of suicide, because you're hearing these young kids getting bullied and getting harassed because they're wanting to dress different. They want to love differently, and they're killing themselves at such a young age, and that's terrifying. So to know that someone is willing to risk everything that they have, because there could have been so much more backlash than what has been shown, I think it's pretty impressive.
So I want to thank you, Alexis, for that message and giving us your viewpoints of it. Obviously, there's some things that I really strongly agree with there. There's some things that I, disagree with. But at the end of the day, again, we hear everybody out, and I really, really appreciate you for being brave and letting your side be heard. This show, at the end of the day, I understand how difficult this show is. You have to kind of put yourself out there to be potentially at risk of really taking some serious heat. I've taken heat. And we're only 3 episodes in. And the heat that I've taken has been insane. But I'm willing to do that because I'm tired of the world that we live in, where we just shut people out. If you don't agree with me, you're an idiot. If you don't agree with me, you're ignorant. You're wrong. I'm just done with you. We don't talk to people anymore, have conversations to learn from each other. We talk just to hear our own self instead of hearing the other side. So again, Alexis, the fact that you took that time out, and I know I've been told how Alexis really doesn't like the spotlight. She doesn't really want to be put out there, but she went ahead and she was brave and trying to speak for her community. Tip my cap to you. And again, I really, really appreciate that. June, I'm going to kind of go to you first here and tell us your thoughts on this.
Wow. She hit a few good points, but I don't know if we don't know the intentions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what the intentions was when they decided on, let's go to a bar.
But they've said they said what their intention was.
Yeah,
you're saying you don't believe their intention. I just want I
don't know.
I have to correct you here because you keep saying that we don't know.
I don't know. The thing is, apparently the parents were okay with this. The parents of these kids, because they had to sign off on some type
I
of...
see no comment on that, so I can't tell you one way or the other.
Right. But they're elementary.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To my understanding, you know, they have to sign some type of waiver or some type of... Because God forbid something happens to those kids, then they have to protect themselves.
Sure.
The school. So going off of that, I want to believe that the parents were okay with those kids unless they were chaperoning and they were there.
Okay.
So if they would... Listen, I'm not here to tell nobody how to raise their kids. I'm not here to tell nobody how to, you know... But if they're okay with it, then it is what it is. I'm not judging.
Okay.
But me personally, it's just my kid, my 8-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, not going to no bar, regardless on what type of bar it is. It's just a bar.
Did you forget your child's age there? 8-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old?
No,
or you're just trying to speak in general?
I'm talking in general. That's why I started with 8.
I'm about to go tell your little guy, like, hey, you forgot your age. All right, go ahead, Gabe. What do you think?
I appreciate her speaking, what she was, saying what she was saying. Definitely though, I feel like I definitely agree with, letting those kids know it's okay, but at that age, I feel like it's definitely too early for them. I have friends, they struggled with, letting themselves be known, being comfortable with themselves. It took them a while. But elementary school, they're literally just learning how to count to 10 right about now. Like, it's middle school, like heading into middle school, them seeing it more. I mean, even that's still pretty young. I just don't agree with, if they're, like, we don't know if that was their intention to do it. But if their intention was to give them an open mind about it, a bar at all is not the place to do it. Right. So,
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. So now where I owned up to, my poor judgment and how quickly when I first read this article and Junior brought it to my attention. First, I'll be honest, I didn't believe him. I kept saying, did you verify that article? Is it real? Or did this really happen? Because I couldn't believe it. And then, yeah, sure enough, it was real. It really did happen. But my daughter, and I have 2 kids right now. One of them, is a newborn baby, so he's not in school yet. My other one, she's my other one, she's in 4th grade, and she's at that age where she's learning a lot right now, and starting to realize in the world. Me as a father, I'm just not ready right now to have her start learning about any community, about anything sexual, about feelings and things like that. Is that going to happen at some point? It is unfortunately going to happen, but that's still my baby girl right now. And I'm just not ready for her to learn about feelings and all of that. I just not, that's my baby. That's my child.
You're being a dad, bro.
Yeah. And I'm very protective of her. And you talk to anybody in my family, I'm probably too protective of her. They all get mad because they don't see her enough, because I just don't let her out. That's just how I am. So yes, now, if she were going to that school, now I'm going to go ahead and get a little down and dirty here. If she was going to that school, first of all, I'm not signing any permission slip to have her go. Right. But secondly, the fact that you would even approach me with something like that, my daughter's immediately getting unenrolled out of that school. That is the first thing I'm doing, because that's a disgrace for you to think it's okay to take children to a bar. To a bar. I'll own it. Listen, when I was a kid, my dad, he played music in a bar. Did he take me into bars? Yes, he did, because he was a musician. That's what he did.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, my dad did that, not the school. And then the fact that, okay, it was closed. It was closed. But then it opened up at some point, and they moved the kids to the outside. One thing that is known is in bars, in some cases, you have predators at bars. So when you opened up, what's to say that a predator didn't go into that bar, wasn't in that bar? How do we know that? How can we confirm any of that information? Yeah. So we put the children at risk there. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to some really quick quotes here, and then we're going to probably go to commercial break here in about 5 or 10 minutes here. But a gentleman on Facebook, his name is NOL, made such a great point, but then he had to go ahead and butcher it by getting personal, by getting defensive, and by making it, I'm right, you're wrong, anybody doesn't agree with me, So I probably shouldn't even read the comment, simply because of the fact that they made it personal instead of just sticking to the facts. But the point was very valid, that I want to at least give credit where credit is due, because credit was due here. The quote says, Interesting, the outrage is only focused on the LGBTQ part. All over this country, schools have taken students to bars and grills, Applebee's, TGI Fridays, etc. Even allow them to sponsor fundraisers for the school. The outrage is about being a gay, quote-unquote, gay bar. Forget the grill part. Get over it, people. LGBTQ folks have and always will be a part of our communities. That was great. But then he ends it with this part. Now, if you choose to raise your child in a bubble of ignorance, well, that's on y'all. Why? This is the problem that I have now. So I'm going to get a little bit off topic here, but this is the part that drives me insane. You make such a strong point, but then you have to go ahead and say, if you choose to raise a child in a bubble of ignorance, well, that's on y'all. So the bubble of ignorance is your way of basically saying, I'm right the way that I think is right, the way that you think is wrong. Why does it have to be that way? Why can't it just be like, hey, look, this is how I feel. That may be how you feel, but this is how I see things. This is how I view it. We need to stop this. We need to stop this absolutism. And, it's one way and that's it. We're not built to think the exact same way. That's not what we're about. That's not what we're here for. Please, I'm begging you all. You know what? I personally know and I can see you have so much potential in you. The delivery in the way you say things is the only part that I think is holding you back from literally being a constituent, maybe being a mayor, running for office in a city. You can make so much change, and I've seen it. This gentleman here, he's literally, when Puerto Rico had a hurricane, not only did he go and fill trucks to send food out there, he then flew out to Puerto Rico and helped and fed them out there. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. Listen, I didn't even do something like that. So I tip my cap to you, to all the great stuff that you've done. Just work on the delivery because you made such a great point there. You didn't have to add that other part to it. Just stick to the portion that you have there. I don't fully agree with what you're saying, but it's a darn good point. You know what it made me do? It made me look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I focused more on the bar than I focused more on the gay portion than I did on the bar. That made me, so you obviously hit home with me on that one, but I beg of you, please. And I did, for the record, I did invite him on the show to go ahead and, speak to it. But again, completely understand this show can be daunting sometimes. And I understand that, but we have to be better as people. Listen to each other, hear each other out, because then when you make a good point, you can easily make it go away by just one or two negative comments.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that goes for everybody. I mean, and then again, it's Facebook. People scream for attention.
I don't think he was trying to do that there. I truly don't. I think he was trying to make a point.
He made a good point.
He made a good point, but I'm saying at the end, that part, when he used that part there for to me, it looks like, because he didn't need to add that.
Well, he probably was frustrated. I mean, I don't blame him. Look at literally a lot of people that read the article. They literally saw gay and they were like, okay, yeah, this is a terrible thing. Everybody saw bar afterwards.
My question is this now. So let's say it would have said what it said and they would have took out the LGBTQ part out or the gay part out. You think it would have gotten as much backlash as it did?
It didn't get any backlash.
That's what I'm saying.
This has been buried.
That's true.
It's been buried.
True. What I mean, backlash as in the little backlash that it got, because it was buried. So you would think that something like this would be out there in every news station. You know what I mean? But it wasn't. When I found this, it popped up in my feed. I don't even know where it popped up, but it popped up, and then I saw it coincidentally. I sent it to Jesus, and we're here. But my thing is, if it wouldn't have had the LGBTQ part, it would have just said bar. I think it would have still been. It would have been the same. It would have had the same effect. You don't think so? You don't think so?
I respectfully disagree there. Again, it didn't even get. They were trying to hide it to begin with.
Right.
But I truly don't believe that it would have. I think the LGBTQ part is the part. And again, that's why I think you're right. Gabe, when you say NOL was probably frustrated. And that's understandable. But let's use that frustration and let's work on how we can change the views.
So
let's not turn people off. Because when we go negative, we turn people off.
Yeah.
I mean, take a look at some of the comments that the backlash that, that unfortunately he's taken. I'm going to read to you a response that was given to him. This is from Tam. Tam says, wrong, I'm a lesbian. and don't give 2 cents. This is about kids. It's about acting like you got a good sense and at least some moral compass. Being in the LGBTQ doesn't mean acting like a spoiled brat, where everyone caters to bad behavior. It's about dignity and equality, being a decent human being, not a culture of depravity where all that matters is me, me, me. And that's where his comment, it wasn't me, 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 me until that last part. That last part is all. Everything else was powerful.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it didn't need to be added, bro. That last part.
Now, I just want to go back to the part where you said
That bar
about it being a bar. I think the reason why it got so much attention is when you hear, it's hard to say because a bar, there can be bars where it's just literally a table, a bartender, football games going on in the back, people chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to clubs, which this is most likely a club if it has gay bar in the title. If it said it was any type of club, I think it would have still gotten the same attraction just because kids are still going to be exposed to something like that.
That's where I was going to go at. So the exposure. That's the thing right there, because in the article it stated that they closed the bar down, but then they opened it back up, and then the kids would move to a different area. But even though they would move to a different area, they still in the same vicinity.
Yeah, what
Correct?
if one of those kids wandered around and got into that spot?
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. So they would have gotten exposed to something that maybe their parents didn't want them to see.
And
you know what I'm saying?
But if that's the case, then shame on the parents for even signing off on that, period. I mean, I don't care.
Agreed.
That's
Agreed. 100%.
No way, no how that should. If I don't feel bad for them at all. We gotta pay some bills real quick. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna head to a quick break.
Very expensive.
Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be right back, and we're gonna continue this conversation. There's a lot more feedback, a lot more comments that I kind of want to touch on here. But I think we're making some headway here, and I really like where this is headed. So we'll be right back. Do not go anywhere.
Hear You Out podcast isn't done yet, but bills need to be paid. So we'll be right back. Don't you dare leave.
Hey, it's Izzy from Mom and Pop Scent Shop, where we offer a safe alternative to candles through wax and warmers that provide long-lasting fragrances minus the flame, soot, smoke, and toxins. Our warmers are backed by a lifetime warranty against electrical and manufacturer defects, and our wax is like no other. The best part? You can get most of our products for free and half price. Just ask me how. 863-257-8818. But don't take my word for it. Here's Ashley.
Scentsi's wax warmers are so cute. There's literally something for everyone, and their wax bars last longer than any other brand I've tried.
Yo, what's going on, Ant?
What's going on?
I want to invite the Hear You Out audience to hear us out on The Culture. We'll dive into hip-hop news, music, current events, new episodes every Monday morning. Check us out. Peace and love.
Peace.
Yo. Here we go again.
They represent a culture.
You can represent like this.
The Culture Podcast.
All right, thank you. Make sure you check out the Culture Podcast. Jeff and Anthony, they always talk about some great things. They talk about the culture. I'm pretty sure they're going to have some good stuff to talk about this upcoming week. Make sure you tune in, not just this week, but every week. And again, the Sensi. Listen, holidays is around the corner. Why not go and get your significant other some smell goods? And when I say significant other, listen, men even like Sensi too. So make sure you don't discriminate. And listen, they got Yankee candles. I'm a Yankee fan, as you can tell. They got Giants gear. They have it all. So make sure you go and you check that out. Mom and Pop Sensi Shop. Do not miss out on that one. All right. I want to go ahead and kind of, we ended this with what Tam was kind of her response to, where Tam, I'm shocked. I'm not going to lie, because Tam is actually part of that community. And the fact that Tam wasn't a big fan of this, Gabe, you've been very defensive so far about this article and the stance. I want to know how you feel about what Tam is saying, where she's basically saying, we don't want to make it about me, me, me. It's about dignity and equality, being a decent human being. I want you to touch on that and kind of tell me, how do you feel? Because Tam is not taking the side of the article of the school here.
No, yeah. I mean, definitely. It's a thing where a lot of people don't have. I mean, it's been years since people have been able to come out and feel good about it. And like so it's hard to do that. So I understand. I mean, I understand why it's the me because of how long it took for it. But I mean, it's a thing where a lot of people for years have been struggling to do it. I mean, people have gotten kicked out of their parents' house because of it. People like get looked at funny for working at a job, and somebody, the way they may talk, the way they may dress, things like that. So I understand the reason why it's such a big thing for a lot of them, because again, it's something that it hasn't been as comfortable as it is now for a lot of people.
So this kind of brings me a little bit back to what we said last episode is I want everyone to be treated equal. There shouldn't be any kind of special treatment regardless. June, do you think this field trip and kind of the view of this field trip, does this show some kind of special treatment? Yes, I know it's making you uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but I'm going to ask you flat out. Is this, hey, you know what? We're going to support the LGBTQ community and that special treatment? Or is it like Gabe is saying, no, it's forget about that part, eliminate that, just focus on the bar?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's a bar is a bar. And, when you attach LGBTQ to it, it just, it's going to be clickbait. You know what I'm saying? On social media.
Was that what this was in your opinion? This was clickbait?
I don't know. Again, it goes back to me saying I don't know what the intentions was, but I think that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this still. I mean, well, I know. Let me take that back. I do know how I feel about this. And again, my kid is not going to no bar. But do I think it was clickbait? I mean, it could have been. It could have been, and the reason I say that is because they emphasize so strong on that gay word or that LGBTQ, because why couldn't they just say bar? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm going to put you in an uncomfortable situation. I'm going to ask you a question. It has to be an actual answer. You cannot dance around it. Take the word bar out of it. The article says, or the school approaches you and says, hey, we would like to take your son on a field trip to a restaurant that supports and is specifically focused on the LGBTQ community.
What is going to be? What's the purpose of going
community,
to that bar?
Supporting community.
I need more information. I would need more
information.
I've
given you the information.
Well, no, I would need more information. Support. What are y'all going to do? What are y'all going to do?
They're going to learn about all types of jobs involved, operating a restaurant, how to pay for their meal, and how to leave a tip for the service they receive. Exactly what this trip was about.
If those three things is the only thing that they're going to do,
yes,
then yes. And I probably would want a chaperone.
Okay. If you're not allowed to chaperone?
Well, I mean, then my kid isn't going.
Has your kid ever been on a field trip before?
No, he's in right now. He's in actually, yeah, he has. He's gone to field trips in.
Have you chaperoned on those field trips?
No, because of the places that he went. For example, he went to Gatorland. He went to where else did he go?
You rather, and I'm putting you on the spot here.
No,
this
go
is what
ahead.
the show's about. I love this.
Go
By the way, everybody who's not, he's squirming right now in his seat. I love this. So you would rather chaperone to a restaurant that supports the LGBTQ community
bar.
Than
Big
Gatorland where there's gators.
Restaurant and bar.
No, I just said to you specifically, this is not a bar.
Oh, we're talking about restaurant like
just
Applebee's
a restaurant
type stuff?
No,
like
just a regular restaurant.
Like Applebee's, McDonald's, and stuff like that, then yeah, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind.
Okay. So you wouldn't mind if, so you're saying you wouldn't mind if it's a restaurant that has the pride flags all over, things like that.
Right, I wouldn't mind that because they're not going specific. They're going specifically to learn those three topics.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I don't mind. But the fact that they opened it back up.
No,
and the people, if you disregard that part and you take that part out, then,
yeah. But
then
we discussed the bar part already.
It would be
the first part of the episode we discussed about that.
But it would be a different conversation with going to what you're asking me. So for example, we're talking about we can't compare a bar to a restaurant. Now, if you're at like what you're asking me, a restaurant and they're going to learn community stuff, like those three things. They're going to go to Applebee's. They're gonna learn how to operate, so on and so forth. Learn how to run restaurants. That's fine. I wouldn't
But
mind.
it's not an
But my
Applebee's. Remember,
son-
this is not an
No.
Applebee's.
It could be Applebee's. It could be McDonald's. It could
No,
be
no.
Denny's.
But this is a restaurant that is specifically focused and for the LGBTQ community. So we're talking everything that they're seeing around them is in support of that.
Yeah, if you talk about like flags and stuff like that.
Flags, everything,
Yeah.
pictures, all that stuff. You'd be okay with that, right?
Pictures. What kind of pictures? Like that's the thing. Like my son is 8 years old.
Okay, the parades. People walking. The pictures are pictures from the parade.
I don't know. I honestly don't know because I need to see what's in those pictures. Nah, bro.
Come on.
No.
We need an answer. We gotta get an answer.
And I'm telling
you want
you,
me
I
to
don't
answer that
know.
question? Do you
I
want me to
don't-
answer that question?
Well, no, I
can
mean,
answer it
you
for
can
you.
answer it, but I'm standing strong on that because now we're changing stuff. So we're adding pictures. So what's gonna be in the pictures? There's parades. There's LGBTQ like their parades.
So you
want to
know what my answer would be because of that?
Go
Because
ahead.
of that would be no. My daughter would
Right.
not be going on that
But that's
trip.
what I'm saying.
And
I
the
need
reason
to
why
see-
she's not going,
I
and
need
Gabe
to
is about
see.
to rip me to shreds, but it's okay. This is what this is about, right? We can disagree. I said it before in the first part of the episode. I'm gonna say it now. I'm not ready for my daughter to be around that. Will she ultimately be around it at some point? Yes, she will be.
Yeah.
You know, and if the day of tomorrow my daughter approaches me and says, "Hey, look, this is what it is. This is how I feel," then that's how she
that's what I'm
feels,
saying.
and
So
that's what it is. But again, for me, I'm not ready for her to learn that, and that's not just for this. That goes for sex ed. That goes for just anything in general. I'm not ready for that. So
See,
I'm gonna
that's
answer that
difference
flat
is,
out.
The difference so with my son, I'm very open with my son with a lot of stuff. Like my
I'm not.
son, and
Yeah.
that's the difference, and that's totally fine.
Yep.
So that's why I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say yes because again, I need context. I need to know, like you're saying, pictures.
But I just
okay.
gave you so the pictures
need to know
are pictures
what-
from different things. Yes, it could be pictures of people in speedos at the at the parade. It's gonna be some pictures of drag queens. It's gonna be all these different types. So because
No.
what I want to get to is
Then
I
no.
want for you to make
No.
Then no.
No.
Okay. Go ahead, Gabe. You wanna go ahead? I can see it.
Because I know he's 8 years old. So what's gonna happen is he's gonna come home with questions, and again, it goes back to there's gonna be a lot of questions I'm not gonna know how to answer simply because I'm not in that community.
By the way, that's why I answered it. That's why I answered my section because I knew once I did that would hopefully open it up and make you a little bit because look, just this
No.
show. It's not just about putting one person on the spot. I am more than willing to go ahead and put myself out there and take heat.
Well, they had
and
not-
I know by what I just said,
No.
I am absolutely going to get crushed for saying this, just like
Well,
Gabe is about to do right now.
I need to say
and that's
this.
okay.
So because you answered it, that didn't really make a difference in what I answered because I needed to know, like when you got into context, what's in those pictures.
Yeah.
That made
But
me
that's why I wanted to
decide-
answer, so then I can give you the context and you can get the full story.
okay,
I'm not
perfect.
saying you say yes because
okay,
you
okay.
said no because I said no.
Right.
But what I'm saying is you said you were then able to answer the question because you then heard, okay, my full explanation for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, gotcha.
Gabe, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay,
You
so
could buzz me and do whatever you want.
no, you're fine. I mean, parenting is different. People like to keep their kids,
Yep.
away from things, and it's perfectly fine.
Right.
I hope you guys don't have that thought when you guys see a drag queen or something like that walking. Like, look away or something like that. I get pictures. I mean, if they look at pictures, yeah, like you said, they come.
So
home.
I'm sorry. You're thinking that I would tell my daughter to look away if she sees one?
No, I'm just saying.
I would never
like-
do that, by the way.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
No.
That's disrespectful. I would
Yeah,
never disrespect
But
somebody
I'm
like
just,
that.
it's just like a picture. I mean, you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings if you say somebody look away
Yeah,
when
sure.
you see them. But a picture, when you said, they're gonna ask questions, kids are always gonna ask questions about anything. So it's like, this is the time for parents to get into this everything to learn. So when those kids ask those questions, they have, you guys have an answer for it. They don't feel like you guys are just gonna ignore them. So it's like, be prepared for that because it's, the world is evolving. Everybody's, becoming their own person now, and that's one of the things that's gonna happen.
But does that mean it has
and
to
that's
happen
the
at
thing.
8-9 years old?
That's
no,
what I'm
it
saying.
definitely does.
So-
That's what I was just about to go to
Yeah,
next.
if I
thank
don't
you.
put him in that space,
No,
then
yeah.
there's no reason for him to come. Now, when he's 15, 16, that's a different story.
Yeah, I definitely think elementary school is still way too young for kids to have even think about something like that. They gotta learn how to write, read, count to times tables, things like that. Like let them focus on that first. I would say hitting that middle school time. That's when they start developing these questions, trying to figure out, some kids trying to figure out who they are. Some kids just want to play, be home, play outside, play games, things like that. But it's just elementary school. It's any type of restaurant. Would you guys now, it being an LGBT restaurant, if you guys go to, if there's a restaurant, if we had a parade for, straight, and there's not really much that can go on in it because people dress up differently. But would you guys? I mean, it's like if you guys are seeing a kid going in a parade for straight people, sharing their things like that. Do you guys feel any type of way about that?
What's the parade about?
It's just I mean, like a gay pride parade. It's just the same thing with a straight person. Do you guys? I mean, all right, because they're kind of the same. I mean, yeah, people gay and straight is they're same people.
I'm talking more about again, for me, I'm just not ready to have that conversation yet with my child. And I know there's going to be people out there, well, you need to have those conversations. And you know who's the people saying that? Are the ones that aren't parents. That's the part that drives me insane. That's the people that, the ones, sorry, Junior's over here screaming at me.
Hit that. I love it.
If you don't have children, don't tell me how to raise my child. Just period.
Definitely.
Yeah, like don't tell me how to raise my child. I'm far from perfect from what I've raised my child with. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep getting back up every time I mess up, and I'm going to try to get better and learn from it. It's not to say that I never want my daughter to know about the world, because she will ultimately get there. But the time, in my opinion, is not yet. It's just not, it's not yet. This is an ugly world that we live in. And now when I say ugly, I'm not speaking ugly in regards to the LGBT community. I'm talking about ugly in regards of the way us as people are, the way we talk to each other, the way we treat each other. That's what I mean by ugly. And if you don't believe me, again, go on Facebook, go to our Facebook page, take a look at this one post. Go take a look at how some of those ugly, disgusting things that are being said, that's the perfect example of it. So yeah, no, I'm not going down like that. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to tell me how to raise my child. When that time comes, yes, and she asks me questions, I'm going to be more than happy to sit down, have that conversation, and really explain it. But I'm doing it on my time. I'm not doing it on anybody else's time. And hate me all you want, put me down all you want. I love everybody. I truly do. I love everybody out there. I don't care who you are. Just as much as I love you, though, I always hope that you would love me and respect me the same way, where you're not going to tell me how to live my life and how to do my things. That's all I'm asking. Yep. That's all that I ask. Another thing that I really quick want to touch on is there's a lot of screaming to get this board member fired from the school. One of the comments was from David on Facebook, and he says a person like this has no business in early education development, corrupting the morals of children. Gabe, go ahead.
They're not corrupting anything. Those kids are gonna see what, hopefully they didn't see anything in that bar, first of all. But those kids are gonna eventually learn about everything. Again, it's way too young for them to be learning it. But it's not corruption. They're basically learning it way too soon. About the teacher getting fired, there needs to be some disciplinary action.
Hold up, rewind. It's not corruption, but they're learning it way too soon. I feel like you're contradicting yourself there. Can you specify so I don't have to call you out on that?
No, yeah, for sure. So it's, is your kids getting corrupted for seeing a straight person?
No.
So why are they getting corrupted for seeing a gay person?
Yeah, but the comment that you made was basically it's too soon, but it's not corruption. So what makes it too soon?
They're in elementary school. They shouldn't know anything about being straight or gay just yet. They should be learning about, So
good job digging yourself out of that one. I appreciate it. Continue.
But yeah,
I gotta give it to you, but that was good. That was good.
I don't know where you pulled that out from, but I'm gonna give that to you.
That was good.
I think I got it from you, from your parenting. You don't want your kids to see, your daughter to do anything just yet. So, but just like it's the teacher or board, whoever she was. Something definitely needs to, because why is that an idea to take those kids there? So fired, I don't think it's, she should definitely lose her job for it, but something definitely needs to happen. Like, I don't know what exactly, but there definitely is something.
Okay. Junior, what do you think?
I agree. Something needs to happen. I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to happen because
I'm Let's
serious,
make
man.
okay. You're her
Like, 'cause
boss.
right
What are you
now-
doing?
I'm probably giving her a few weeks off without pay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's probably what I'll do. Would I fire her? No, it'd be like a nice slap in the wrist, like, she is getting death threats though.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that one. Just before we do that, let me just go ahead and give my thoughts on this one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This show, what is the one thing I always say I never do? I don't cancel people out. Right. So if I was to sit here and say fire her, I'm canceling her out, right?
Right.
I won't do that.
What if it was a repeated offense on her part?
That's different, right?
Okay.
If you just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, that's a completely different story. It's just so funny that you said that. I'm kind of mad that you went before me now. I would have placed her on paid leave, right? You take 2 weeks off. Just really think about this decision that was made.
Paid or unpaid?
Paid. Absolutely paid. Listen, I work for, teachers don't make that much. School board members, like, I'm sorry. I'm not about taking money out of people's pockets.
This could be a totally different topic, bro.
Yeah, it could be. But yes, but I do think that there needs to be some kind of disciplinary action. But not just on her. Guess what? If I was her boss, I need to be disciplined as well because that falls on me too. Agreed. I let it happen somehow. So I need to be disciplined as well, right? So just across the board. But no, absolutely not. I do not want to cancel someone out. You learn from it, right? You learn from it. And again, the focus should be on the bar. Don't be like me, people. Don't focus on the gay portion of it, but focus on the bar portion of it. The gay portion, again, children aren't ready for that, in my opinion, at that age, to have that conversation. My child, I'm not going to say anybody else. If somebody else feels they want to have that, perfectly fine. Go ahead and do you. But just me, my child is not ready for that, that moment. We're getting just about ready to the end here. Junior, you were talking about death threats, and I want you to go ahead and kind of, touch on that really quick.
Leonardi, the lady who put the message on Twitter basically saying that she was honored to be invited to chaperone on the field trip to Rosie's bar. Apparently she's getting death threats, and I don't know what's going on with that because there's not a lot of information, but she's getting death threats right at the moment. So I don't know how far that's going to go. I don't know if she's got laid off. I don't know what's going on with that.
Gabe, do you want to go first or you want me to?
Death threats.
This is your closing statements. Everybody's closing statements, by the way, right here.
Humans make mistakes. She made a big one.
Okay.
The school actually made a big one because we don't know if it was just her. Absolutely. But her face is on the thing, so that's the reason. Death threats shouldn't be. There's no reason why her to be getting any type of death threats. It's elementary school kids, but we're human. Everybody's human. It's mistakes happen. It was a bad idea to bring kids to a bar, but hopefully she learns from it. Hopefully she's like, okay, there has to be some other restaurant I can take these kids out to that's gonna help with the community.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
To my understanding, she's a board member. She's not even a teacher.
Correct. Yeah, she's a board member.
That's
Absolutely.
even worse, bro.
Yeah,
that comes from the top.
But
of the food chain. No, it doesn't make it right.
Okay, yeah.
No, it doesn't make it right. I'm just saying, the teacher should know better, but she should even know, she should know even more because, bro, that falls down on the whole school now. It doesn't fall down on the teacher because the board members represent the actual school. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand if it would have been a teacher, okay, whatever, 2 weeks unpaid or paid leave, whatever. But now we're talking about a board member.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse in my eyes. But yeah.
Is that your closing?
Yeah. I've said what I said, and again, my son's 8, and he will not be doing that.
I think this is absolutely disgusting. The fact that she's getting death threats.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Now you're making what she did wrong, and you're just making what you do even worse than what she did by making death threats, by doing those type of things. Absolutely. If you want to send a strongly worded letter, I always like to say that whenever I'm mad at someone, I'm going to send you a strongly worded letter. Go ahead and do so. But do not send death threats. That's disgusting. That's the problem with what's happening in this world today. Again, we just all want things to be our way. We want everybody to think alike. She thought this was a good idea turned out to be not a good idea. It turned out to be a very bad idea. But to offer and to give her death threats, we have to stop this. We have to be better. And, you know, for those of you out there that are making this a Democrat-Republican thing, stop. This is a person thing. This is a group of people. Because, again, I don't think the buck stops with just her. This was a group of people that decided that this was a good idea. And it turned out that it was not a good idea. Period. That's what this is. This is not political. This is not something that somebody should die over. But this was a horrible decision. And I truly hope, I truly do. Again, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I truly hope that Wilton Manors Elementary at some point comes out with a statement apologizing for the decision that they made. I hope so. You know, Broward County, talk to your school district. Let them know something like this can never happen again. But now I'm going to talk to my people, my followers. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the support. And listen, we just going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting better. Keep giving me feedback. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I know I'm going to say things that maybe ruffle some feathers. And just know, whenever I say things, it's not out of hate. It's out of just me being honest with you all, because I think differently. And I want everybody to think differently. I don't want anybody to don't agree with me just for the sake of agreeing with me, right? Feel free to disagree with me. That's what makes things great. That's what makes us great as humans. But this behavior, where we're putting people down, we're calling people names, we're threatening people's lives, that has to stop. And if there was any reason why I started this show, is to people to realize we can disagree and still be humans. That's all I got. That's all I'm going to say. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure, if you want to always follow us, you can subscribe on Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Podcast App, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple, everywhere. We're available. There's not a single place you can't catch us. Make sure you visit the website, hearyououtpodcast.com. We're on YouTube. We're getting thousands of views every episode. That support is amazing. I can't believe it. We're only 2 episodes in, and the last episode had over 2,000 views. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, like, leave us a comment. Tell us what we could do better. Tell us what we want us to keep doing, and continue that support. And make sure holidays are coming up. For any of you out there that are pet parents or pet uncle or a pet aunt, BarkBox, go ahead, go on our Facebook page. You'll see the pinned link. Click on that link. Go out there. Go buy that BarkBox. It comes with some really good goodies for the pets. I know Gabe is signed up for it as well. You'll love it. The dog will love it. They'll thank you for it. Trust me. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're out of here. We will see you all.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hear You Out podcast, where every opinion is heard and never judged. If you like the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a comment. If you really want more opinions, follow us on Facebook at Hear You Out Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter at Hear You Out Pod. Want us to cover a specific topic? Send us a message on our site at hearyoutpodcast.com or email us at contactus@hearyoutpodcast.com. Until next time, remember, you don't have to agree on everything to coexist.